The Natural Resources staff of the Michigan Army National Guard's Fort Custer Training Center has built a very tight connection. Its members have tied environmental management to all aspects of mission support, and it has paid big dividends for the 7,500-acre training site. Their efforts have earned them the 2009 Natural Resources Conservation Award for small installations. Michigan also won the same award for the Army and the Department of Defense.
Well, this award just, really validates the genuine interest we have in being good stewards of our environment. I think it certainly motivates people to to be even more aggressive about protecting our environment and investing in it. Our team down at Fort Custer Training Center has just done a marvelous job of building partnerships and creating innovative programs to one, be good stewards of the environment, but also to add value to our readiness training. So I'm tremendously proud of our staff at Fort Custer.
Fort Custer is home to small arms training, bivouac exercises, land navigation training, and specialized improvised explosive device training on its convoy reaction course. It also boasts the premier natural resources program that is well known in the state and region for its excellence. Planning and implementing training missions with a pristine environment is a major challenge for any installation. It requires due diligence for both aspects to maintain a successful balance.
I look at our role as twofold. One is to protect and conserve the natural resources that we have here on post at Fort Custer, but primarily it's to also support and make sure that we have realistic and required training for the military.
The military will work with us on our natural resources management program. We try not to put barriers to their training in place, so between our working with them and they're working with us, we get to do some really fantastic ecological restoration on the ground in a place that's a really fantastic jewel in the crown of Michigan.
To better coordinate environmental activities with training priorities and construction requirements, the Natural Resources staff personnel integrate themselves in all of the installation's planning activities. Externally, the Natural Resources staff develop positive working relationships with regulatory agencies like the Department of Natural Resources, the U.S. Forest Service, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Given the frequent coordination and cooperation with these agencies, they are more like partners than regulators.
We know that military mission is first, period. We absolutely must keep our soldiers trained and ready to defend our country. But we also have the opportunity to manage the natural resources in such a way that generally it doesn't interfere with their training. I think good relationships with the leadership at the fort and good relationships with our partners who have a say in what we do, including the Fish and Wildlife Service and the Department of Natural Resources, that gives us the flexibility to have the best of both worlds.
Well, it's built upon the trust between the National Guard and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. It's pretty good lines of demarcation where you have Army and National Guard activities occurring as compared to where habitat work's occurring. So I think they've got a real good mix here of being able to do what they do with the National Guard, but also doing the habitat work and the environmental concerns that they have. I think they mix them real well.
I've been about over every square inch of the base, and I'm amazed at the diversity of habitat types and the projects that they've done and how really the quality of the habitat has improved. They've been really wonderful stewards of the environment, and it shows. I mean, if you look at the great activities, the wildlife diversity that's out here, the fruit is now being born of lots and lots of years of labor and good people doing good work.
Using prescribed fire is an extremely valuable environmental tool for both prairies and forests at Fort Custer. Prescribed fire management not only improves habitat quality, but also training land viability and accessibility. This year, Fort Custer managed a record 3,700 acres with prescribed fire, making it one of the top 3 entities in Michigan for fire management. The Natural Resources staff places such a premium on this method that they have completed enough training to conduct burns themselves at a great cost savings. Building off the U.S. Forest Service program, the Fort Custer staff has developed its own fire monitoring program tailored for the installation. This program tracks fuel loads and habitat effects for both forest and prairie regeneration and invasive species control.
On the natural resources management side, prescribed fire is really fantastic. All of the habitat in our area was, almost all of it, was dependent on prescribed fire for its maintenance. So if you don't burn, species that are more fire intolerant will take over. So like maples and cherries and that kind of thing will grow up, where historically for 10 to 20,000 years this area was maintained by Native Americans with a fire regime that encouraged oaks and grasslands and oak savannas and sometimes oak forests. And the wetlands, many of them are also dependent upon prescribed fire.
And in doing that, they really opened up our training area, got rid of some of the understory down there, and reduced the brush. And what it's allowed us to do is to actually have more maneuver space for training. It's also resulted in less wear and tear on, you know, our soldiers' uniforms and frankly on their bodies as they train down there. The net result is we can train better and more effectively down there.
Comprehensive data collection has also proven extremely valuable in furthering Fort Custer's mission. Within the past 2 years, Natural Resources staff completed National Environmental Protection Act documentation for the construction of the convoy training course. More NEPA documentation was submitted to clear 10 acres for construction of a new Joint Forces Training Center to support the Michigan Guard, Army, Reserve, and Marine troops. The staff's data collection efforts garnered clearances for a light demolition range for improvised explosive device training with an environmental impact study in the early stages. The staff's dedication to data collection has also proven invaluable in meeting external challenges to training.
We were approached by the trainers a few years ago. They needed an open area to simulate some tank movement. And with that, we started a prairie restoration project on about 200 acres on post. And consequently, that has turned into a valuable convoy reaction course and an IED course where they can actually have live training that reflects directly on the situations in Iraq and Afghanistan. So it's worked out good for both of us. We've got our prairie, and they have an excellent convoy reaction course.
In the convoy reaction course, about 170 of the site's 200 acres are planted with native grasses and maintained with prescribed fire. The staff also maintains grass propagation plots for collecting 3 prime species of seeds. These seeds and the resulting seedlings are used to increase grass cover for erosion control and trail repair.
In order for you to use it, you have to maintain it, and you have to have your environmental staff involved. Anytime we do a project on post, it's my operations people, my environmental folks, my engineering folks, and myself that sit down and come up with a plan of action of what we're going to do, where we're going to do it, and does it involve any potential endangered species or habitat or things like that. And then once you do your reckon check and it's good to go, then we can proceed with the project. These folks are one of the best environmental staffs I've seen, and they're right on the money when it comes to taking care of things on the installation and also letting the community know the good things that they do here.
The installation offers hunting safety training, a hunting program with the Department of Natural Resources that controls game population and offers recreation opportunities for soldiers and about 1,200 hunters each year, hosts regional education events for students and scouting groups, and offers research opportunities in animal, insect, and plant studies for Michigan State University graduate students. For the Natural Resources staff, balancing training priorities and construction requirements with natural resource conservation is as delicate and complex as the balance of nature itself. But at Fort Custer, the staff exhibits the best management practices that maximize mission effectiveness in an effort that plays out every day.
I think the most important thing for them to know is that there is a wonderful treasure trove, if you will, of resources, natural resources here, and they are here and being well stewarded by the folks that are managing them. This is, in many respects, almost a preserve where habitat is being restored and wild things can come and find a place to call home. So to me, that is an amazing thing that's happening within these fences, is habitats being restored. Once again, creatures that hadn't been here are coming home and saying, this is home.